Hi, my darlings. I'm Sophie Darling, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we are reacting to episode 1 of series 2 of Apothecary Diaries, and I can't believe we're actually in series 2. And we still have to wait like a year for series 3, but that's okay because it's worth the wait. And I'm gonna get the light novels and read up until where series 2 ends. Obviously, not before I watch series 2 because I don't want to spoil series 2. So once series 2 ends, I'm gonna get the light novels. I'm gonna read the light novels. I'm going to read up until series 2 cuts off so I don't spoil series 3 for myself, and then compare how the light novels are in relation to the anime in terms of like what is different, what's more clear in the text versus the show. Because I feel like sometimes in the written word there is more clarity, there is more alluding to core plot lines or themes versus a show where the mystery is the big element that they want to keep. So they more allude to things, they touch upon it, but they don't necessarily go into as much detail, or they don't highlight it as much. Like Mau Mau's pinky finger, us not realizing that that wasn't just a weird quirk that she had, that it actually had a fundamental meaning to her until like the very end of series 1. We also didn't know much about Mau Mau in relation to her parents, and it was not entirely clear whether she knew that Lacan was her dad, but looking back in hindsight, there's so many indications that she already knows that this man's her dad. There's like little phrases of dialogue where it's like, okay, you could read that as her knowing who he is, not that he's this creep from the brothel, but as in, that's my dad and he's a fucking pest, leave me alone. But I don't know if that becomes more clear because we have the clarity now, whereas when we're watching it for the first time and we're consuming it for the first time, it may not necessarily be as clear to us. Though I think there were a few times where I was a bit like, does she know or does she not know? And it was only in episode 23 when she outright calls him her dad and confronts him, and he isn't shocked by that knowledge, that we go, oh, okay, she knows that's her dad. She knows all along. She knows who her parents are. She just doesn't see them as her parents, which is completely valid because Lumen is the one that raised her. Lumen is her dad. He is her family. He was the one that was there for her, along with her 3 older sisters and Granny at the brothel. That is her family, her found family versus her biological family. But we did get to have somewhat of a little happy ending. I'm really looking forward to seeing how series 2 plays out. I know that we're most likely going to follow the thread of Jinshi being attacked and also the mystery surrounding Lolan and her dad, because in episode 24, Bazin, Gao Shen's son, second son, sorry, he has an older son because he's also a granddad, but Bazin was openly talking bad about Lolan's dad, about him being like untrustworthy, because even Mau Mau internally was like, I wish he wouldn't critique them so openly because it's not something that you should do because it can get you in trouble. It can put you in danger, and Mama will be condemned by association. She's like, I want nothing to do with that. Please don't wrap me up into this. She very much is aware of her place and wants to kind of make sure that she's not causing unnecessary trouble and is keeping her head down so that she can still go back and see her dad, because she understands how fragile life is as a servant, especially when you have no power or authority to prevent someone calling for your execution. She is very, very aware of that. Not that I think anyone would allow it to happen, considering her dad is quite high up in terms of power, and then there's also Jinshi, but even they may not be able to prevent it if it's authorized by someone higher, such as the Emperor. I think the Emperor would have a hard time pacifying his consorts if he tried to execute Mau Mau for whatever reason, but I can understand why Mau Mau's like, I don't want to be associated with that. Long story short, I think we're going to follow the thread of Jinshi being the target of an assassination. We're gonna see more about Lolan and her dad. We're possibly gonna learn more about the previous Empress Dowager, and maybe we'll learn more about the actual Empress Dowager because we have only seen her once, and it was during the garden party, and she was holding Lingley. So we didn't actually really know much about her other than she had the Emperor very young. She had a second child, and there was a big age gap between them, that she was possibly in on this baby swap, but maybe we'll learn a little bit more, especially Jinchi's relationship to the Empress Dowager, especially because she would have been the one that raised him, not his actual mother. Jinchi obviously doesn't know that he's not the Emperor's brother. He doesn't know that he's been swapped, but still, it would be nice to kind of know what his experience was like growing up, especially as the second brother, and sort of the comparisons that may come from being the younger brother and the pressure that that puts on him because he's very eager for another child to be born, especially a boy, so that the pressure gets taken off of him to inherit. Of course, he's the eldest son, so if the emperor finds out that he's the eldest son, then he is going to inherit regardless unless he abdicates, but we shall see because I don't think this is what Jinchi necessarily wants. I think if this stood in the way of him being with Mao Mao, he would happily give up becoming emperor to be with her, even though Mao Mao will probably be like, that's really stupid. But I think a lot of what we see in the show is about love and sacrifice. So it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility for Jinshi to make that sacrifice for his love to Mao Mao, whether she necessarily agrees with it or not. But as well, the slow burn between Mao Mao and Jinshi, I am so excited to see how this ramps up further, especially that bait with the kiss at the end of series one, and they didn't kiss and he had buttered her instead because she genuinely had that man sweating. He thought there was going to be something romantic, that she was going to confess her feelings. No, she just wanted what he had promised her. She knew what she was doing, though. She was teasing him, but I can't wait to see more of this as the series progresses. And I hope this series never ends because I love this show. I love the acting. I love the animation. I love the dynamics between the characters. I just don't want there to ever be a conclusion to the show. And I feel like if there is a conclusion, I'm going to sob my eyes out because this is hands down one of the best things I have ever seen in my life. I love this show. I think this is my favorite show ever, which is big talk considering how much I loved Attack on Titan. I feel like Attack on Titan and Apothecary Diaries would be side by side as my two favorite things, but it's also really hard because Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is also really up there, and so is Freerun. I feel like they're like joint second, but Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is very close to also being like up there as a favorite. It's really hard to pick. I don't know how anyone can categorically be like, this is my favorite, and there's no questions about it because I'm like, this is my favorite, but this is also my favorite. I can't just have one favorite because it's not fair. Everything is so good. I don't want to only have one favorite. So, yeah, but this is quickly surpassed Freerun for me as like the best thing I've ever watched. I love Freerun, do not get me wrong. I'm so excited for series 2 of Freerun, but I think just the drama and political tension that comes with Apothecary Diaries, that just entices me a lot more. I love the philosophical and deep meanings within Freerun and this whole concept of mourning and coming to terms with loss, but also understanding what it means to love and remember those that we've lost. I just really love the depth of that show, but the political tension and the mystery just really excites me with Apothecary Diaries, and it also helps that I see myself a lot in Mao Mao. Me and Mao Mao are very alike in terms of personality, and I think that's why I love this show so much, is because when Mao Mao does something, I'm like, oh, I'd do that. Like, I can see myself so much in her. But without further ado, we're going to get into episode 1 of series 2, and I can't wait to see where this journey takes us. The animation is just so pretty in this show. Oh. May May. I got a little bit confused, I think, at the end of series one. I think it was just because the dialogue was a teeny tiny bit confusing because Mao Mao was talking about how she wished she could send Mei Mei off. But I think in hindsight, it's Mao Mao saying that she wished it was Mei Mei that had been brought out because Mei Mei deserves to be brought out because of how sweet and kind hearted she is, and that Mao Mao was somewhat sad that Mei Mei didn't get that opportunity because we know that Mei Mei spent a lot of time with Lacan. They played games together, they spent a lot of time with one another, and they also knew each other back from when she was the attendant to Mao Mao's mum. So Lacan is no stranger to Mei Mei, and Mei Mei is no stranger to him. I know that there were a few mentions that perhaps Mei Mei was in love with Lacan, and I can maybe understand where people are coming from that, but I never really saw it as love. I saw it more as pity because she knew their relationship dynamic. She knew how close they were. And yes, she wishes that Mama's mom had said something sooner because, then they could have informed Lacan. Things might have been different. They could have united them sooner. But I think it could also potentially be read as maybe I wouldn't have got my hopes up on Lacan if I had known just how deep your affection for him was. But I still just don't see it as love for Lacan. I see it as more she feels sorry for him and she has some affection for him, not so much love, but sympathy and pity and understanding for the situation that he's in, and that he blames himself for what happened to Mao Mao's mum. And part of that is why she spends so much time with him. But I think she also understands that if bought out by Lacan, she could have a relatively happy, peaceful existence because she enjoys his company. But I don't think it's love. Maybe in the light novels, it is more extensively hinted at that she loves Lacan and sacrifices her place for Lacan to be happy with Mao Mao's mum. But she even openly says, I enjoy my work at the brothel, but if you pick me, I will go. But please make sure that you pick the right person. So she's already aware that Lacan loves another, and she wants Lacan to pick the woman that he loves. And she knows that it's not her. So I don't think it's love. Potentially the light novel delves into that more, or there's more explicit hints, but in terms of the show, I didn't pick up on love. I picked up on more pity and understanding and a friendship that had blossomed between them of mutual understanding and connection because of Mao Mao's mum. And therefore, she wanted them both to be happy with each other because she knew of Lacan's feelings towards Mao Mao's mum. And the confirmation then came from Mao Mao's mum reacting to Lacan and smiling and almost herself again, that made Mei Mei realize just how much Mao Mao's mom actually loves Lacan too. And that's why she's lamenting that she couldn't reunite them sooner. That's how I read it, was she's sad that she couldn't have reunited them sooner because she didn't know that Mao Mao's mom felt the same for Lacan as Lacan felt for her. So she kind of is upset that she couldn't have created this reunion before now. So I can understand why people read it as Mei Mei loving Lacan and choosing to give up her place and being selfless and sacrificing a life of luxury. But I don't think it's love. But that also doesn't take away from the selfless sacrifice, because she could have lied for her own benefit. She could have chosen not to tell him that Mao Mao's mom was still alive. She could have done it solely to benefit by being brought out, and she didn't. So whether she loves him or not is irrelevant. Her act was still incredibly selfless and kind, and I can understand why Mao Mao is somewhat sad that Mei Mei isn't the one that's being brought out, because she feels that Mei Mei deserves it the most, that Mei Mei deserves to live a life in retirement and in luxury and peace, that she shouldn't have to continue working at the brothel. But at the same time, it doesn't undermine what Mei Mei did, whether she loves Lacan or not. I don't see it as love, but I can understand if other people do. That moment where she's like picking up the piece and she's looking out the window at the sunlight, even in that moment, we don't see a hint of regret or even sadness at losing Lacan. Yes, she picks up the piece that he commonly plays with, but I think that's just symbolic of the game that connected Lacan and Mao Mao's mum, and she's able to recognize their happiness in being together once more, and she's looking at it fondly because she knows just how much they loved playing this game together. I don't think it's like her remembering Lacan specifically, but her remembering just how happy they were when they played together, and also that memory of them playing again when they got reunited. So I think it's just her remembering fondly how the couple met, and also how they were reunited was through the love of this game. It's not necessarily her lamenting Lacan. You could read it that way, but I don't read it that way because of how happy she is. She was happy for them to be together. But yes, Mei Mei didn't get bought out, which is sad, but hopefully she gets bought out at some point because she deserves it. She really does.
なにおばば
So much money.
マオマオからの注文らしい。
いい稼ぎになりそうだ。言われた通りに届けてやってくれ。
Is this like Mao Mao ordered it? Are they like sex books? Like, what is it?
綺麗ですね。
部屋に飾ろうと思って。
お変わりないですか？
Jinshi performing his duties, checking on everybody. It's so dark and dingy. If you compare it to how it looked when Aldua ran the place, it was bright and airy.
師匠殿から次女の増員を打診された。
ですが、この人数は。
ああ、これでは他の婦人たちの矜持が保てないな。
Why do I feel like he's trying to do it to make his daughter seem more important than the rest? She's so cute.
あら、何かお探し？
He's looking for Mao Mao.
マオなら一局に行ったわ。
She caught him out so quick.
春よね。
I wonder if we'll see Gyokyu give birth then in this series.
紅葉を作っております。医局
Oh,
を掃除してい
perfumes.
て蒸留装置を見つけたので、
すごい匂いだな。
野生の装備に比べると薄いですよ。何かご用でしょうか？
I love the doctor.
これ
He
だけ
really
香り
grew
が
on
強い
me.
と誰だって気になるだろ
氷の中にはこう流す作用を持つものもあります。
Oh,
なければ問題ないと思いますが。
she's being
う。
careful.
高級内で使われている香水などは規制しなくてもいいのか？
ええ、問題ないかと。ヤブ医者は人はいいが口が軽い。まだ玉葉妃の妊娠は知らせない方がいい。
Is she not out of the safe zone yet? There's a period of time where it's extremely risky for women during pregnancy. So most women won't tell anyone that they're pregnant until after 12 weeks. So she must be under 12 weeks if they're keeping it a secret until she's like in the second trimester.
お荷物お持ちしました。
Oh, these are the books that she's ordered. Are they sex books? Like,
Numbers.
what are these books?
Ah,
Granny looked
so do I
way
do
too
that.
happy.
ジンス様、お茶を入れますので椅子に座
She's
ってい
like,
てくださ
say
い。
nothing.
何が？
これは実家からの荷物で大したものではありませんので。
おう、お前の実家から。
Oh no.
なんて
Oh
やつだ。
no.
下着が入っていますので。
He's like, okay, I'll back off.
男二人がかりで持ってくるなんて、この下着は何
Stop
製でしょうか？
stopping her in.
高級で問題なのは性的に無垢なことが求められすぎていることです。
Oh,
高級に
it's like
集められる
sex
女官は
ed
生
books.
娘がほとんどです。帝のお眼鏡にかなったとして無知なために粗相があったりしたら不憫でなりません。事前に学習する必要があるかと。
Oh, Mao
だから
Mao.
こんなものを用意したの。
何の書物かといえばあれである。
Oh, wow, okay.
愛読する帝のために取り寄せていたものを少しばかり販路を増やそうと多めに頼んだのだが
She did give one to Li Hua and said this is the emperor's favorite book. He's taking tips for his
随分
wife.
綺麗に作られていますね。いい紙を使っています。
Is it the paper from the doctor?
実はむっつりなのかと思った。
Like his
こういう
family?
本は嫁入り道具にも使われますし、字が読めずとも絵だけで楽しめるので需要があるんです。
お気に召したならば一冊大騒ぎになって。
いや、そういうわけでは断じて
He's
ない
like, shut up.
まあ、今回だけは見逃してやらん
Especially as
の
he's
な
meant
いいの
to
ですか？
be a eunuch. Doesn't mean he can't get sexual gratification, but testosterone levels are impacted, so it would be giving too much away if he admitted he was being turned on by it.
際どいものについては検閲の必要があるかと。
She's gonna be like,
ですが
no.
帝が今までのでは物足りないとおっしゃっていたので、
ダメです。
せっかくやり手ババアに厳選してもらったのに。
They're like, we should censor them, and the emperor's like, nah, it's not graphic enough.
綺麗な花が咲くその下に私は何を求めるのか。
Is she okay? Is she good?
ねえ、一体何が埋まってると思う？
バフンああ、がっつくから。シャオランって文字読めたっけ？
読めないよ。でも読める子がみんなに読み聞かせてくれ
Oh,
るの。
cute.
早く続きを知りたいな。
They're sharing stories.
戻りました。
Is it like a
何
romance
ですそ
novel?
れ？
主将様が妃全員に配られたそうよ。
Oh,
今あ
okay.
ったら他の者にも見せてあげるといいって。
Is he wanting to educate the lower classes?
おそらくジンス様が帝に頼んだのだろう。
Oh.
仲介料をもらっておけばよかった。しかしなぜだ？品がないとされる小説を
Maybe he
わざわ
wants
ざ
to
育ちのいい
boost the
貴族たちに
literacy
配る
rate.
理由
Or he thinks it's important that they become educated.
っていたが、やはり何か企んでいたか。
もう終わっちゃった。
Did she say that it had to do with politics? Is this the emperor trying to root out who it is that's potentially trying to work against him by giving it to the consorts and then asking them to spread it out? Almost as if kind of like he's wanting them to know that he's on to some plot that's happening. I don't know, it's very strange that it's involving politics, but it's kind of also nice that he wants everyone to be included in reading this, almost as if he wants to boost the literacy levels and make everyone keenly aware of what's happening. But just the mention of politics makes me wonder if he's finding a way to catch somebody out. Using the novel, obviously, somehow.
この冊子本体を渡さずとも書き写せばよろしいのではないですか？挿絵などは難しいかと思いますが、アイラン様は字がお綺麗ですので、写すのは問題ないと思いますよ。
No. You say thanks.
そんな面倒なことやるの？
皇宮内に書物が出回れば、文字を読もうとする者たちが増える。それが流行りの大衆小説であればなおさら。
Boost the literacy rate.
薬や女官の識字率を上げるには
Oh,
どうすればいいと
so he just wants everyone to be able to read
回りくどいことをするものだな。
by getting them hooked on a book. What a man.
どうした？
It's like, I want to write stories.
子が何度も読みすぎちゃって声が枯れちゃったんだ。
なら私が読む。
それはダメ。
She's like, I want to read myself.
せっかく時間かけて書いてくれたのに、私がそんなずるしちゃいけないよ。
The look of admiration. She's like, yes.
真似して書いてみて。
わかった。
I love their friendship dynamic. She
私
tried.
の名前って結構難しかったんだね。
I love that the emperor wants to ensure that girls also have an education. It's not just isolated to the men. He wants the court ladies and the servant girls all to know how to read and write. And Jinshi's helping too.
シャオランなりに将来のことを
Which
考
is
えてい
great
るようだ。
because so few women could read or write in this time period unless they were from affluent families. So it's breaking down that class barrier.
これは
カッコン。
ねえ、それって
No,
普段使う
no,
言
they're
葉なの？
not.
まずは挨拶からね。
そうして
Mama's like, let me teach you what I want. Oh, a storm is coming. Oh, it's eerie. What the fuck? Oh, the high five.
リンリー姫のお散歩の許可が下りたんですか？
もうあちこち走り回るんだから。
She does. She's so energetic.
確かに姫の健康を考えると外に出る機会を増やした方がいいと思います。
護衛として宦官が2人つくけど、
I was gonna say,
本
need
人
to
と
make
一緒
sure
に
that
マオマオ
nobody
についてい
harms
ってくれな
her.
いかしら。
わかりました。たかだか散歩に過保護な気もするが、それ
No,
も仕方ないだろう。
I'd be
マオマオは
worried
花や生き
too.
物に詳しいから、散歩の時にリンリーに教えてあげてくれる？
玉葉様、それはダメです。ろくでもないものばかり
She'll
おっしゃい
teach
ます。
her how to protect herself from
役に立つと
poison.
思うんだけど。
Thank you.
まだ幼い姫だが、あと10年もすれ
Aw.
ばどこかへ嫁ぐ可能性
That
が
must
出
be
てくる。
so hard for
もし他
Gyoku
国へと渡った場合、必ずしも歓迎されるとは言い切る。
having to give her daughter to
薬や
another
毒の
nation.
知識はあって困るものではない。
Exactly.
Yeah, Hari,
She's
くれない奇跡だ。
preparing her for the future. She is honestly so freaking adorable.
姫を見た者の反応は様々だ。それぞれ姫に対する考え方が
Some are
違う。
jealous because their mistresses haven't had babies, but also the fact that she. Oh, that's where something weird was hiding, right? Is it a kitten?
子猫。
Oh, just a
捕まえ
baby.
よと。仕方ない。
Cat versus cat. Little
捕まえ
baby.
ようとしてる風に見えたけど、違った？この子お腹空いてるのかも。
She was the one we saw that it looked like she was being attacked, but it was the cat that was going after her.
マオマオ、それって。
ええ、猫です。汚れていますし、姫様が触れるのは控えた方がいいかと。
Oh,
そうよね。
that's me when I see a cat. I want a cat too. But I imagine people look at Lingley with some resentment because she survived and the prince died. So maybe there's a bit of resentment there, which is awful because she's just a child herself.
一体どこで生まれた子猫なのか。
It's so cute.
こうやって布で巻いたとっくりに湯を入れて置いてやるといいんだよ。
He should have been a veterinarian. He's so much more comfortable with cats than he is with like people.
だいぶ痩
Oh,
せていますね。家畜の父はありませんか？
ああ、食堂でもらってこようか。お嬢ちゃん、ヤギの乳ならあったよ。蝶ももらえた。
ありがとうございます。
I will go mad if anything happens to this little kitten.
かわいいね。かわいいね。
その夜、翡翠宮に帝が来た。
子猫を飼うことにした。
Oh,
引き続き世話を。
how could he say no?
帝も大概親バカである。
I was gonna
マオ
say.
マオが子猫の世話とは名前の通りぴったりだろ。
Probably took one look at Lingley and was like, yes, you can have this kitten. Oh, I hope nobody harms the kitten to try and get to Lingley.
砂を入れた木箱を置いてやると排泄も自らするようになった。
My cat
もう
won't
一人
even
旅
let
したら
me
大変だ。
子育ては順調か？
cut his nails,
そ
and
ろ
this
そろ
cat's
姫
so
に見せても
chill.
問題ないかと思います。
そう
Oh, it's a
か。
little girl. I think calicos are all girls, aren't they?
メスか。
はい。虚勢する必要がなくてよかった。あ、申し訳ありません。
She's
Yeah,
like, I
she was
shouldn't have
still
said
feeling
that. It's okay because he's not a eunuch.
お前もする
No.
か？
あまり猫は好きではありません。
その名前でか。
よく言われます。
She was named after Cat's Foot the plant, so
あの二人ほどではない。具体的にどこがいいのかわからない。
I love cats.
見ていると飽きず、目が離せなくなり、そのうちに触りたくなるとか。
うん。
普段はそっけないくせに、餌を
It's
与
like,
え
oh
る
my
時だけ
god.
愛想が良くなるのが腹立たしいですが。
That's basically Mao Mao. He's like, ah,
肉球
fuck.
プニプニしたり、接吻したり。
She's describing exactly how I feel. De facto Mao Mao.
どうしたんですか、ジンシ様。
Also, they smell like biscuits.
わからなくもない気がしてきた。
We call Sully Little Biscuit
子猫がどこから
Boy
来たのかは分からず、
because he does smell
高
like
級に出入り
biscuits.
する荷車に入り込んだのだろうと結論付けられた。皇帝より盗賊改めという大層な役割が与えられた。
What a
要する
name!
に異曲の備蓄を荒らすネズミ
Admonisher
を
of
退治する
thieves.
のである。
She loves Mao Mao.
名前がマオマオになったことだけは消せないな。
Mao Mao and Mao Mao Jr.
キ
The
ャラバン
caravan. Oh! Is some of Gyokyu's family coming to visit? Oh, they are busty. They are some busty women. Is that Gyokyu's sisters? Maybe mother as well. I'm not sure. Could they be coming as well to try and catch the Emperor's attention with their ample assets? I hope nothing bad happens to this little cat. It is the cutest thing ever, and I just love that the Emperor couldn't say no to Lingli because she wanted the kitten and he was like, yep, I'm an absolute girl dad. I am powerless. You can have this kitten. And the fact that the kitten is like a de facto Mao Mao to Jinshi and also got called Mao Mao. And when Jinshi comes in, he's like, how's the child rearing? This was such a cute opening episode. We got to see more of Lingli going for walks, and Lingli getting a little kitten. We get to see the Emperor being more of a girl dad, but also hints to this caravan coming and how the Emperor and Jinshi are trying to sort of break down the class barrier by improving the literacy rates and also the gender divide, because young boys, especially serving boys, would have the ability to read or write because it would have been seen as important for them to know how to, especially if they are serving the emperor as eunuchs. Whereas girls were not seen as needing to value those skills, so they were more geared towards practical aspects such as embroidery, sewing, dancing, singing, those kind of attributes, more physical attributes or crafting rather than reading or writing. So that was seen as more of a male pursuit. So they're breaking down the gender divide too by granting the women of the rear palace and the serving girls the equal opportunity to learn to read and write, and to entice them to want to learn by gifting these novels that make them want to know more rather than relying on other people to read it for them. As we know, one of the servants lost their voices doing so because she was reading so much, and that only enticed more serving girls to want to know how to read for themselves so that they didn't have to rely on anyone else. And Mama was so proud of her. She was like, yes, exactly. You need to learn for yourself. You can't just allow other people to do it for you. And she's like, I wouldn't have earned it. I've got to do it for myself. It's like a matter of pride. And Mao Mao could appreciate that. Who that servant girl was that caught the kitten is going to be interesting. There's no way that that was just like a one-time meeting. She's going to come back up again because that's the second time we saw her. The first time was when we thought she was getting attacked by some suspicious thing in the alley, but it actually turned out to be a kitten. It wasn't anything super malicious, thank God. I thought maybe it was like an assassin or somebody trying to like abuse her. I was targeting her. I didn't know what was going on, but thankfully it was just a little baby Mao Mao. So the fact that she then shows up again and catches the kitten and hands it to Mao Mao and then like walks off. She's also very like chirpy and chatty, and she's a serving girl. So I wonder if she could come into play again, especially because there's the mention of Mao Mao wanting to educate girls in the rear palace in case the emperor takes an interest in any of them and they would know then how to please him, which makes me think, could she potentially then become a consort? Could she be someone that catches the emperor's eye? Could she be seen as valuable? And maybe that's what they're alluding to, that they're hinting that even a serving girl can work her way up to being a consort, that even they can achieve this position. Who knows? We'll see. But it just seems interesting that we see her. She seems very lively and vivacious. And then also the fact that we then have the mention of the books wanting to educate the girls in case the emperor ever takes interest in them. So, but she doesn't quite have the same ample assets as the others. So maybe not, but I guess we'll see. But then again, Lowland doesn't exactly have ample assets in the same way that Liwa and Gyokyu do. So maybe she would still be his type, but we'll see. It also seems like Lowland's dad is trying to make a statement, is trying to make a point that his daughter is superior to the other consorts, that she is the one to watch and to gain favor with by essentially demanding her to have more ladies in waiting, because we know that ladies in waiting from series 1 are seen in connection to power and authority. We know that Gyokyu was kind of looked at as not being as favored by the emperor because Li Hua had more ladies in waiting than Gyokyu did. So it was seen as an imbalance of power, but Gyokyu didn't want more ladies in waiting. She only wanted those that she could trust. She wanted a small retainer, whereas Li Hua had those that she wanted around her. I don't know whether she saw it as a way of distinguishing herself as above Gyokyu, or whether it just so happened that she employed as many as possible because that was what she thought she needed to do. Either way, the fact that Lowland's dad is demanding her to have more ladies in waiting to the point that even Jinshi is like, this is excessive, shows that they are vying to have Lowland seen as powerful, as having authority, as being up there, as the favorite of the emperor, even though that's not true, because the amount of ladies in waiting that you have isn't necessarily linked to how much the emperor favors you. It's just what people perceive it as. We know that that's not the case because Gyokyu has the least, but she was also the favored. She is seen as the favorite. So it has nothing to do with who the emperor actually likes the most, but more the perception. It is more how the rest of the court sees you as being favored because of the amount of women you have serving you and the cost of that upkeep, because obviously the ladies in waiting receive a salary that is funded by the emperor. So it is essentially seen as having wealth bestowed upon you, favor bestowed upon you, though it may not necessarily be the case. But even Jinshi's like, that's a bit much, because it is a bit much. She doesn't need that many. And it's because they're trying to make a statement. Because as I said, Lowland's dad seems very much like the type to vie for power. And his way of vying for power is to have Lowland right beside the emperor and to become his favorite and to have the emperor's firstborn son. That's the way that I'm seeing it. But then there is also an alternative, which I could also see the show going in, which is everyone thinks that the emperor's younger brother is ill and weak. So if he is removed from the picture, the emperor has no one to inherit, because no one knows outside of Gyokyu's ladies in waiting that Gyokyu is pregnant. So they don't know that there's potentially another child. The only child in the eyes of the court that the emperor has is Lingli, who is a girl. She cannot inherit. So if the emperor's brother is taken out of the picture, it paves the way for someone to take the emperor out. It weakens his authority and allows someone else to try and muscle in and take control. But it also paves the way for someone else to gain authority by having a son, by having someone that could be a direct heir to the emperor. So it could be that they're hoping that in getting rid of Jinshi, they can then try and get rid of the emperor because there is no one else to take his place. There is no heir. So if the emperor is removed, then the dynasty switches to whoever takes his place. So it seems like he's either trying to take over and become the emperor himself by removing the heir to the throne and then moving against the emperor to usurp his place, or he's positioning his daughter as close enough to the emperor that he will favor her and she will eventually give him a son, and that secures her position as essentially the empress consort because she is the one that gave him his heir. It's hard to predict, but I think it could go either way. It could be that he wants his daughter next to the emperor so that she gives him a boy, she gains this power and authority, and then he can use that and leverage that position that his daughter's in to puppeteer the emperor, or at least in his mind, try and puppeteer the emperor, because we know that Lolan's position was Aldua's, and Aldua was seen as the close advisor to the emperor. She was one of the only people that he listened to and that he went to. So it could be that he's trying to maneuver his daughter into that position so that she will be able to influence the emperor, and that influence will come from her father. He will feed it down to her, she'll feed it to him, and then it gets put into action. Or he wants his daughter close enough to the emperor that when the time comes and Jinshi is removed from the picture, she can remove the emperor from the picture, because the only people that are close enough to the emperor to assassinate him would be the consorts, because they are allowed to be with the emperor with no guards. Whereas the emperor always has guards, bar when he's with the consorts, because it's not needed. So he's at his most vulnerable when he's with the consorts. So it could be that they're looking to weaponize Lolan to assassinate the emperor, and there would be no repercussions because with the emperor dead, and if Jinshi is already removed from the picture, then whoever is moving against them would already be taking the throne, and because of this larger plot, she would be absolved of that crime. It would not have a consequence to it, which makes me think that that could also be the alternative, that they're wanting her to assassinate the emperor once Jinshi's out of the picture, because Jinshi is set to inherit and Lingli can't inherit. And just the fact that people can glare at Lingli and look at her with resentment and annoyance is so aggravating to me. She's just a little girl. It's not her fault. But then at the same time, they probably look at her and think, well, it's not fair that she lived and Li Hua's son died. But that's not Lingli's fault that Li Hua's son died. But I think because of the time that this is set in, they're probably like looking at it from the perspective of, oh, it's such a shame because she can't inherit, but Li Hua's son could have. So if anyone should have died, it should have been Lingli, because in the eyes of the court, Lingli isn't really of use in terms of inheritance. The only thing she's of use is solidifying connections and unions with other countries by being married off, which is why they're already talking about this idea of her being married, because she could have her marriage arranged with another country. And I just love that Gyoku is trying to do whatever she can to protect her daughter, making sure that she knows everything that she can to guard herself when she's in another land, in another country with people that possibly resent her. Much the way that she felt when she came here is that people didn't necessarily accept her. So she wants to make sure that her daughter is fully prepared and can protect herself when her mother's no longer there to do it for her. But the fact that Gyokyu would have to say goodbye to her daughter is so incredibly sad, but it happens all the time. So many women had to watch their daughters be essentially given in marriage to other countries and they never really saw them again. And it's incredibly tragic, but it is unfortunately what happens when you're born a girl. Your value is marriage, especially if you are royal. You don't have the ability to inherit, so by extension, you are seen as worthy in so much as what can be gained from marrying you off to someone else. But I can't wait to see how this series progresses and whether we get to see Gyokyu have her baby because she is still very early on. So no one really knows that she's pregnant yet. But I think that could be, again, because she's so very early in the stages and miscarriage is so high in the first 12 weeks that they don't want to talk about her pregnancy until she's out of that zone. But they probably also just want to make sure that nobody would then attempt to target her because she is pregnant again for the second time with the emperor's child, and it could be a boy. I hope that Li Hua does get to have a baby at some point. It would be nice for her to finally get the child that she wanted. It was so incredibly tragic that she lost her son, so I hope that she does get to become a mother again one day and get to raise her child without the worry and fear that that child would pass away. I just want her to have her baby too, because it must be incredibly painful for her to see Gyokyu and her daughter live the life that she wanted to have with her son. And not just that, but to learn that Gyokyu is pregnant again is going to be incredibly painful. She obviously doesn't know now, but when she learns of it, it's going to be really sad and hard for her, I think, because she's not pregnant and she has to see Gyokyu become a mother for the second time. And she became a mother once and lost that child and hasn't become pregnant again. So I'm hoping that there's no complications from the makeup, that she does get to have another baby, that she does get to have a child and become a mother once more. She is still a mother regardless of losing her baby, but that she gets to have a living child that she gets to raise and dote upon because she deserves it. I think that's all I want to say for now. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this react, please consider liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment below to help boost this video into the algorithm. Until next episode, bye!